Welcome to the Boardroom. A podcast from Miami for Miami. Sponsored by Physical Therapy Now. If it's happening in the health and legal business, we're talking about it. Andy Zapata holds a bachelor's degree from Florida International University and has had a distinguished 18-year career in the healthcare business. He's an expert in startup businesses, helping grow small and medium-sized medical centers in healthcare industries. He knows what he's talking about. This is the Boardroom. And here's your host, Andy Zapata.
And welcome everyone to another episode of the Boardroom. Today we have the man, the legend, Mr. Dr. Mark Silverman in the house. 40 years in South Florida, celebrity doctor. Doctor, what an honor to have you. How are you, sir?
Hey, Andy, thanks for having me. And, I don't know about the celebrity doctor thing, but I certainly been here in the South Florida area taking care of a variety of different kinds of patients and cases for a lot of years now.
Well, listen, I've been seeing you since I was a kid. I have the honor and privilege to call you one of my friends, one of my mentors, because believe it or not, we did business back in the day and you taught me a lot of the things and principles that I use today in business. So thank you for that. And just thank you for being here. And what a special day it is for me today to have you here.
Thank you, Andy.
Awesome. So tell us, let's jump right into it. So how have you been this 2020?
Well, I've been fine. I'm happy to be healthy. This has certainly been like living in a science fiction movie since the start of this COVID virus, and that everybody's life has changed dramatically, and we're no exception. And it's changed the way we live. It's changed the things we do. It's changed the way we practice. It's changed so much, and I don't know if it's ever going to go back to the way it was. And it makes it very, very difficult and very challenging during this period of time on what to do and how to do it properly in your practice.
Yeah, I mean, tell us a little bit about the changes you've had to endure in your practice. Like, how are you making patients feel safe? What are the comments the patients are telling you?
Well, the way we've been handling it, and a lot of this has been an evolution because this has been so new to everybody. Initially, we had closed the office for about a month, and then we felt the need to go back and take care of the people who needed to be taken care of. Obviously, the things that just about every medical and chiropractic practice is doing right now is creating a safe space for the patients to come in and get their treatment. So we have the social distancing, we have the sanitizing, we take the temperature, we make sure that there's a safe area for the patients to come in and feel secure. Something else that we started instituting in our practice is we do the rapid COVID test, which we get a result in about 15 minutes to patients who are concerned and want to take it. And what we do is not only do we test our staff, but we test the patients, and by creating a safe zone, knowing that when you come to our office, the chances of getting sick are almost negligible.
Right, because you're testing the staff, you're testing every other patient, you're social distancing, you're disinfecting. Well, I know it's been an evolution. It's been a challenge for all of us in the medical space to be able to serve just like we've been committed to serving. And so thank you for that. And so there you are. All right. So thank you for sharing that. But let's talk a little bit about the audience, and let's talk a little bit to the audience, and let's share your journey. Let's go right into it. Let's step right into it. What has your journey been? Like, tell me the journey. 40 years ago, 1980, you started coming on TV. When did you become a physician, first of all?
Well, I started practicing in 1975. I moved down here from New York. I'm from Long Beach, Long Island, and I came down here in 1975. I was single, and I came down here for the sun and fun. I decided if I was going to go into practice, I was going to pick a place that it would really be a lot of fun to live. And it certainly lived up to all my expectations. Then we started practicing. I opened up my first office on Coral Way and 32nd Avenue. And at that time, it was considered to be the Little Gables because it was prior to the Mariolito boat lift. When that happened in 1980, that changed the face of Dade County forever. because that whole area became much more Latino, and my whole practice changed. And I started getting more and more and more Latino, mostly Cuban patients coming in at that time. And gradually things began to evolve. My practice continued to grow. And then a friend came to me. It was an interesting story because he came to me and he was actually a marketing guy who he did trades with different, like Univision, for example. And he would trade them time. In return, he would give them billboards, for example. So he had a bunch of time that he could sell. Now, this guy needed treatment badly, but he had some financial issues and he wasn't really able to afford the treatment at that time. So he says to me, I have some time on this station. It's called Univision. And what I'll be glad to do is give you some time on Univision. And in return, you can take care of my problem. So I took care of his problem. And when he offered me that, I said, yeah, but the problem is I don't speak Spanish. So he says to me, don't worry about it. So he created a piece of cardboard and it said on the commercial, "Tiene dolor? Llámame ahora mismo." And, but it wasn't that good. I said, "Hola, yo soy Dr. Silverman." And everything was written phonetically. And I guess back at the time, there was somebody on TV, her name was Dr. Ruth, and she had this really thick European accent. And when she would go on TV, everybody would stop and watch her because she just stood out. Well, imagine me going on Univision. There were no gringos on Spanish TV at that time, certainly no doctors on Spanish TV. And here I was speaking my broken New York Jewish Spanish. And everybody stopped to listen and watch. And it was amazing because of the fact that, the Spanish community, the Latin community really adopted me. And many, many, many patients started coming in. And at that time, there was no competition on TV. There were no lawyers. There were no chiropractors. There were no medical doctors. There was nobody. As a matter of fact, for the first 5 years I was on Spanish TV, I had an exclusive. And I was the only doctor that was able to be on TV. Remember, during that time, there was no Telemundo. There was no other stations, only Univision. So if you spoke Spanish, you were watching Spanish TV, you were watching Univision. And I was on maybe 56 times a week. And I had 2 TV shows on the station. And gradually, over a period of time, I became more and more adopted into the community and expanded my presence. And basically, that's kind of how it evolved. One thing led to another, and my practice is about 95% Latino. And I do speak Spanish. They call it Silverman Spanish, almost like Spanglish. But I do speak Spanish, especially on the medical terminology. I've gotten very good with all of that. My wife is Colombian, so it forces me to speak more Spanish as well. So I've gotten a lot better on that level.
Dude, I'm hearing disruption. I'm hearing innovation. I'm hearing pioneering. You have definitely innovated and done something different than the rest. And I think that's what it takes to really stand out from the rest, right? Do something different, do something uncommon to get uncommon results. And my friend, you've done it. You've disrupted the industry. You're still today at the top, in my eyes, of the chiropractor who's not only an influencer, but part of the community, has given tons and tons, because I know you have given tons and tons back to the community. So thank you for being there, and just thank you for disrupting and making a difference. And just tell me, just so I can get a vision of how many thousands of patients have you helped in 40 years?
No, it's well over 1 million. Wow. And it's been incredible. I mean, there was a time that we used to see sometimes 3,000 to 4,000 people a week and 1,000 new patients every month. People coming in, and the TV shows became so different, so to speak. It was televised on Televisa in Mexico, all through Central and South America. And as we expanded into radio, even though the station, we were on the radio station, Radio Mambi, and there was another station, and it was broadcasted into Cuba. So we would get calls from people in Cuba who would watch me on TV. One time I went to Mexico City. Televisa wanted to interview me because of the impact that our TV shows were having there. We had people coming from, we had the presidents from different countries were coming in for treatment, from Caracas, from Nicaragua, from Mexico,
Wow.
from really all over the place. And it was exciting. It's been tremendously exciting. I'm very, very grateful. You know, I've built this relationship with the Latin community. There's a tremendous amount of trust that I've been able to develop in the community. And we've had to recreate ourselves many, many times because of all the changes that have taken place in the healthcare system. For example, when I first started, we took care of all types of cases, all types of patients. If you had insurance, chances are you had a $100 deductible and the insurance paid 80% after that. Medicare, everybody had free Medicare. So if they wanted to come in for treatment, Medicare covered the treatment. Workers' compensation, if you were injured on the job, the workers' compensation laws were terrific. And it was really easy to take care of people who were hurt on the job. And of course, automobile accidents as well. So we were able to take care of so many different types of cases that it made it very, very easy to be successful at that time. But as time went on, the whole healthcare system changed. For example, the workers' comp laws changed, and it made it very, very difficult to take care of people who were injured in accidents. Then the regular insurance changed, and we started having the onset of HMOs. Now, initially, I did work with some of the HMOs. For example, I worked with AvMed Health Plan, which is huge. And at the time, they were the largest IPL HMO in the entire southeastern United States. And Dr. Herb Davis was the owner at that time, and he's an MD. And he wasn't sold on chiropractic, but he had heard about the results that I had been getting with all of these really serious back and neck problems. So I said to him, let's do a study. I'll take care of, you send me everybody who's been diagnosed as needing hospitalization or surgery, and let me take care of them. Let's see what percentage of those people actually need to go for surgery. So in the first 100 cases, he sent me 93 of those people who were told they needed surgery, traction, or hospitalization, all got well. And as a result of that, he published a study with me that was published in all of the chiropractic journals, as well as was used in a big lawsuit between the chiropractic profession and the American Medical Association. And that study that we did with AvMed helped us win that lawsuit. So it really helped get rid of the committees on quackery and all of these, as we call it now, fake news that used to be about chiropractic, when in reality, we're the safest and we get incredible results. So everything kept changing. Then Medicare started to go into the HMOs.
That's right. Oh.
You there? I think I may.
I'm here.
So we had to keep recreating ourselves because the HMOs, you know, all of a sudden people couldn't just go where they wanted. They had to go to the doctors in the HMO. And workers' comp, they couldn't go where they wanted because they were restricted on that level too. So gradually, things began to change and we began to focus on different areas. So if you ask me one thing that you really have to do to continue to be successful, because one thing that's for sure is the only constant is change. There's always going to be change. You have to be flexible. You can't get too comfortable doing things in one way. You have to see what's happening. You have to see the trends. You have to see the changes in the whole healthcare system. You got to see the needs that are out there that people need so that you can fill those needs and take care of them. And, you know, you mentioned something about giving back to the community. I mean, initially we used to give the consult, the examination, first 2 x-rays. We had an organization called Health for Everybody. We gave it hundreds of thousands of dollars in free treatment. And you know what? We did it because I wanted to spread the word, because I knew how powerful what I did was. And I knew that if I got the results, the rest would take care of itself. And sure enough, that's the way it's always worked. People say, when I get, I'm going to give. No. If you want to get, you got to give. And the more you give, the more you get. And when you don't have the expectation of getting, you even get more.
You couldn't have said it any better, my friend. This is exactly what I preach. You got to give your knowledge, you got to give your time, you got to give your money. And then if you have no expectations, like you said, you're going to get 10, 100 times fold. And you're just a symbol of giving and receiving. And thank you for that with the community. But you mentioned something very important, change. Change is inevitable. And it's something that so many people struggle with. because, oh my God, here a new change law. Like every time I talk to you, we talk about what are we going to do new, what's going to happen in the legislation, how do we adapt, how do we strike first, and what do we do? And so many people just have a hard time with change and innovation. I think that, and those are the people that start falling behind. So thank you for bringing that clarity up. And we'll also mention one more thing. You guys, my audience knows that I do physical therapy. So they might be wondering, like, Andy, why are you interviewing Dr. Silverman? Like, he's in chiropractor, he's your competition, right? And so for me, it's like, hold on a second, guys. Number one, Dr. Silverman's an amazing individual. Like, he's done things that you guys have no clue about what he's done in this community. Number one. Number two, the profession of chiropractic, for me, it's a beautiful complement to what we do, because physical therapy, occupational therapy is amazing, but so is chiropractic. Because can you imagine if somebody's getting like physical therapy for their back and chiropractic care? It's like you're getting double whammy, double benefit. So I love chiropractic. Let me just put that out there, because I know a lot of my audiences are going to say, like, Andy, why are you interviewing Dr. Silverman, right? He's your competition. But I just want to put that out there before anybody says anything. And Dr. Silverman, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, Andy, I think that's the biggest limiter that people have, because they look at, there's I call it like friendly competition, because everybody's unique and everybody does things in a different way. But the reality is, so many times, like you and me, even though we have done different things over the past, we've been able to do things together as well, help each other, make it a win-win situation. People have to stop getting into the resentment, the jealousy. That's going to restrict. That doesn't hurt the other person. It only hurts you. That's right. Not what you want to be sourcing into your life. What you want to be sourcing into your life is success and happiness and getting great results and having a great practice and being happy and having a great relationship. All of those things, you can't have those things if your mind is filled with those little petty things that limit people from being successful.
That's right. And Dr. Silverman, me and you have co-created so many different campaigns, so many different things that, we just, you never know where we're going to reunite. Look, today, we've been working together for what? Like, I would say 15 years already. Okay. And you never know what we can co-create together and when the time, when the wheel turns. And so my advice to everybody is like, yeah, talk to your competition, talk to the doctors, talk to the physical therapists, because you never know what's going to happen. And again, just like you said, it's a beautiful compliment, right? So,
and Andy, one of the things I was going to also say is, when I talk to somebody who does something similar, I know we do a lot of things the same, but there's always certain things that people do a little bit differently. One, that you can learn from it. And number two, you know what? You do this, but I don't. And I do this, but you don't. So maybe we can work together and the things that we don't do the same. So there's so many ways that we can help each other if we're coming from the right place. That's the key.
And it all comes from here. Like, how can I serve you? How can I help you grow? And maybe you can figure something else for me. Maybe we can co-create something, but it all comes from having a good heart, I think, my friend. And you have a good heart, because back when I was much younger, 15 years ago, you took me kind of like under your wing and said, come here, let me show you this, and open doors to your office. You never had a problem with me coming in and asking so many questions. And I just want to thank you for that, my friend, from the bottom of my heart. Like, you had a big impact in my success. And I tell this to everybody that I talk to, attorneys, whether it's my franchises now that I have 40 franchises, over 400 employees in the franchise system. Like, I tell it to everybody, like, we know physical therapy now is part of our success, is Dr. Silverman's teachings on PI and accidents and legal terms of the car accident business, right? Or the personal injury business. So thank you for that, my friend.
You're welcome.
Question for you. So with the audience, just share, like, what's one of the best things that have happened to you with one of your patients that you can say, like, this is one of the most memorable moments that I've had as a chiropractor?
Okay, this is a good story. It goes back to maybe around 1980. And I had this lady who was coming in. She was involved in a bad slip and fall accident, and she was being treated for neck and back problems. And so it turned out she's coming in for treatment. I give her an adjustment. And I didn't know about this other problem that she had until one night she called me from home and she says to me, Dr. Silverman, after my adjustment today, I had a little bit of bleeding in my ear. So I said, oh, really? That's okay. Let's deal with that. Why don't you put some ice on it tonight? And tomorrow when you come in, we'll check it out. We'll see what you need to do. So she comes in the next day and I said, wow, so how's the bleeding in the ear? And she says to me, oh, the bleeding in the ear is gone. I go, great. I said, because that's kind of strange that you would have that reaction. And she says to me, well, you know what's really weird? And I go, what? She goes, well, I never told you this because I never connected the two. But since World War II and the bombings that took place in England, I became deaf in that ear. And when I went to sleep, I would always go to sleep with that ear up because it would be silent because I couldn't hear anything. It was easier to sleep. But after that bleeding stopped in my ear, I noticed when I was lying down with that ear up that I was hearing, and I couldn't believe it. She goes, it was like totally freaking me out. And now my hearing is back in both ears. So this is not something that I was necessarily treating her for, but that was the side effect of unlocking the nerves in the upper part of the neck. And we sent her out to different specialists to get documentation and everything to try and figure out. She had been to like 20 different doctors over her lifetime and nobody was able to help her. And out of the blue, her hearing came back. So then after she was so happy, she says to me, listen, Dr. Silverman, I have a patient that I want to refer to you. And I go, okay, that's great. Who are you referring? Oh, I'm going to refer my niece to you. I go, great. Okay. Why are you referring her? And she goes, oh, she's blind. And I go, what? And she goes, yeah, she's been blind since she's 1 year old in one eye. She had an eye infection and she lost her vision. So I'm going, well, you know, that's not usually the type of, listen, I want you to see her because with what you did with my hearing, I want you to at least see her. So I go, okay, you know, and I said to her, listen, you go ahead and get her to come in. I'm not going to charge you anything to check her because I didn't feel comfortable because with that type of case, who would, right? So I said, no, I'll be glad to check her and see if there's anything I can do to help her. She had more confidence in me at that point than I had in me. So I said, okay, so when are you having her come to see me? And she goes, oh, it'll be about 2 or 3 months. I go, okay, but how come so long? She says, well, we're getting up a collection so we can fly her in from Argentina. So,
oh my God.
So they fly her in from Argentina and she comes in and she does have an issue with her upper neck, whether it was connected to her vision or not. I was certainly not going to, you know, say that I could help her, but I said, okay, let's give you some treatment and see what happens. Yeah. After 2 weeks of treatment, she was going home with her aunt on a bus and she reaches into her aunt's purse and she pulls out a paper. It was actually a flyer from my office. She covers the good eye and with the bad eye, she starts reading what's on that paper to her aunt.
No way.
It's all this, like it's a joke. She thought she memorized everything, you know? So she started pulling more and more things out of her purse for her to read. And sure enough, she was reading it. And as miraculous as that sounds, that's the way it was. As God is my witness, her vision came back in that eye. Now I had two things. We started sending her to the University of Miami, to Baskin Palmer. We were trying to figure out what the connection was that her vision came back after all those years since the eye infection. But nobody could, you know, everybody had different theories why it happened, but they couldn't come up with it. But then I was faced with another thing that I had to deal with. I said, do I want to I had a radio show at that time on Radio Mambi. This was even before it was on Univision.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, do I want to bring the aunt and the niece and put them on radio and start telling them about these results? I said, first of all, I know the whole community will start going crazy. The other chiropractors will go, oh, now Silverman's telling everybody he can cure blindness, he can cure hearing issues.
Yeah.
You know? But on the other hand, it was true. I mean, it really happened. So after a period of time, I did put them on the air. We did start getting people in with visual problems and hearing problems. And I'm not going to say everybody, but I'm going to tell you that there were quite a few people who came in with these kind of problems and responded to chiropractic. So even though right now I focus mainly on people who have been involved and injured in accidents, I got to tell you, chiropractic, when you free the nerve flow and you get everything functioning, I mean, everything, you have this innate intelligence that's connected to God and universal intelligence. And anything is possible. And that's, to me, I mean, over the years, we've had so many cases where people have been told they can't get well, and they do. And I got so many of them that it's just amazing. And that's what has given me the energy and the motivation and the enthusiasm to continue to grow and to stay with it after all this time.
What an amazing story, Dr. Silverman. And hence, I'm gonna be brave and say, this is why they call you Manos Mágicas. Is that correct?
That's exactly. As a matter of fact, I did get in trouble for that once when I was doing my TV show. My first TV show was called Manos Mágicas. And then I got a complaint filed. It didn't get filed, but I got a warning from my association saying, Dr. Silverman, you realize that it's illegal to say you have magic hands, because according to state law, you're not allowed to say that you have any kind of spiritual or these mystical powers. So I had to change the name of the show, and I had to change my commercials so it didn't say Manos Mágicas anymore. But I did do a commercial that was pretty funny, where at the end of the commercial I said in Spanish, I don't have magic hands. And then there's thunder and lightning from above, and I look up and I gaze up and I go, and I just shrug my shoulders. And that commercial ended up being one of my most successful over the years. So I've always tried to be a little funny, a little creative, but also serious.
Wow, thank you for sharing that funny story, and that is amazing. And so where do you see yourself in 3 years? Like, what is the next, so you've done this 40 years. Tell us, take us to the future. What does 3 to 5 years look like for you?
Well, I mean, I love what I'm doing. I mean, my role's changed. I don't treat quite as many people as I used to, but I have a tremendous staff who's been working with me for many years. So that's helpful. And as far as, you know, we're expanding and we're doing a lot more things in our practice. We used to be just chiropractic and a little bit of therapy. Now it's the chiropractic, it's the therapy, it's the rehab. We have MDs, we do pain management. So we're expanding the services that we do. And as long as I'm having a great time doing it, I mean, I'm just going to keep doing it. To me, age is just a number. I don't deal with it. I don't even look at it, even though my wife sometimes say to me, I know you feel like you're 25, but you're not quite 25 anymore. I go, that's okay. As long as I feel like I'm 25, that's all that counts.
Oh, that's funny, man. And what a great story. And so to wrap it up, because I know I don't want to take any more of your generous time, but if you can say, like, to a young generation, younger chiropractors, younger businessmen, like, what would you say, like, these are the 3 most important things to do to be successful and to have the same amount of success that you've had in this community and in the world?
Well, I think everybody's unique. I think everybody has their strengths and weaknesses in different areas. And what's very important is focusing on whatever your strength is, whatever your passion is, and going after that. Because anything that you're going after with all of your energy and your heart and everything takes care of itself. There's an old saying that if you throw your heart over a bar, the body will follow. And that's right. Reality is that, if you start moving in a direction that you feel really good about, don't worry about the how-to. The how-to will show up. You just have to be looking for it to happen. As long as you're moving in the right direction for the right reasons, you're going to see that doors will open. Where one door closes, another one will open. It's just the way it is. So everybody's unique. Everybody has to do it, but you have to stay vigilant in moving in the right direction that's consistent. The giving before you're getting what we talked about is really important. I mean, you're sitting around your office, and if you're not busy, I mean, wouldn't you rather be taking care of people than sitting around doing nothing? I mean, 100%. My feeling has always been, I love to be busy. I love taking care of lots of people and getting lots of results, because that, at the end of the day, I might go into the office a little tired in the morning, but instead of the end of a 12-hour day and seeing 150 or 200 people, instead of being exhausted, it would take me a couple hours to calm down so I can even sit down because of all the excitement generated in the course of the day. So when you're having fun and you're really excited about it, and you don't have to worry. My dad once told me when I was deciding to become a chiropractor, I actually named it the steam room therapy, because we were sitting in a steam room, and he goes, all you got to do is focus on taking care of the people, getting them well, getting results. And if you do that, the financial, that'll take care of itself. And that's been my philosophy all through my life. And sometimes, I've questioned it, but it's always, we all have ups and downs, but I got to tell you that if you stay focused and consistent with your beliefs, it takes care of itself.
So what I'm hearing you say is like, pick something that you love to do, something that you have fun in, have a vision and work toward that vision. And you don't need to know how to get from here to there. You just need to start working little bits and pieces, and day by day, you just have the vision of where you want to go. This is what I teach everybody and tell everybody, just have a vision, and have a vision in something that you love to do. And the know-how will come once you have that vision of where you want to go. So that's what I'm hearing you say.
That's absolutely right, Andy. And, you have to set your goals. Okay. And your goals can be on a lot of different levels. It can be, you want it to be not only on a business level, on a financial level, you want it to be on a personal level, on a relationship level, on a parent level. You need to really focus on what you want, because if you have a goal, your mind automatically wants to start achieving and getting to that goal. So the more things we have set in stone, so to speak, as far as what we want in our life, the more defined everything is, the easier it is to make it all happen.
It's like the power of manifestation. Know what you want, and everything will fall in place. It's my life story. I've made tons of mistakes. I can probably say I've failed my way to success because I had a vision. I made every single mistake that anybody can make. And here I am, successful, sold tons of businesses, have tons of businesses. And now I have the time to do whatever I want. And I just love to hang out with my friends on podcasts now, just like yourself, because of the distancing, the social distancing, we have to do these things. But that's exactly what I did. Have a goal, have some fun with it, give back. Dr. Silverman, thank you so much for sharing this time with me and the audience. And any final you would like to say to the team or to the audience?
No, well, the only thing I want to share is what you just hit it on, is that we all have ups and downs. We all have what we consider successes and failures. But the reality is, it's only a failure if you quit. That's the only time you fail, is if you quit. So if you look at every situation, and when it doesn't work out exactly the way you wanted it to, if you learn from it, you take from it, and then you use it to not make the same mistakes, that's how you continue to grow and expand and become more and more successful.
My brother, I couldn't thank you anymore for those kind words and for this generous time you gave us. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you soon before the end of the year, because we have a couple projects in the pipe. But thank you again. And I will see you soon, my friends. And everybody, Dr. Silverman, Manos Mágicas, doesn't claim it, but he has magic hands, chiropractic physician, 40 years in the making. I call you a celebrity doctor. You say no, but I still say yes. I love you, Dr. Silverman. Thank you so much for everything you've done for the community and myself, and we will talk again soon.
Thank you, Andy.